r/Askreddit. What fact is common knowledge to people who work in your field, but almost unknown to the rest of the population? Heartworms are treatable for dogs, but not for cats. Also, keep on top of your heartworm prevention for your dog. If they get heartworm but you can prove that they've been continually covered, which isn't difficult, the receipts are good enough, and your vet will have them in their database, then the heartworm prevention manufacturer will pay for the treatment. Man, I love that you all love your pets. The toner in your printer is plastic being melted onto the paper. I worked as an insurance adjuster. Most people have no idea what homeowners insurance actually does. Here is a very simple guide to understanding what is covered by homeowners insurance. Greater than a sudden and one-time occurrence. While there are some exceptions to this, understanding those few words will help you understand 95% of what is and is not covered by your policy. Asterisk note, my experience applies to U.S. insurance only. Being a civil attorney, we almost never go to jury trial and the job can be unbelievably boring. An elevator will go up to the top of the hoist instead of crash to the floor in most catastrophic failures due to the counterweights. If you stick your eardrum with an object, you will start to cough. This happens because the nerves interconnect n. Vagus. I hope this information helps you in future battles. Nominal pipe diameters are not indicative of their actual diameter. So a 1-inch pipe is rarely actually 1 inch in either outside or inside diameter. Why? I have no idea. But if you drill a hole of exact diameter and stick that pipe in there, you're going to have a bad time. There is no difference between a violin and a fiddle other than how you play it. There is a surprising amount of infrastructure under your feet. You'd be surprised how much public utility runs underneath private property. Always call before you dig. No one is going to see your website if you don't have a strategy to drive traffic there. For whatever reason, people seem to think if you put something online people are, at best, going to flock to it in droves, or at worst at least stumble across it accidentally. But that's 100% not going to happen. Nobody's just going to stumble on your website. It's like putting a restaurant on the moon, not telling anybody about it then wondering why no one's eating there. When you delete a file from your HD, only the information of how to reach these memory slots coherently is deleted. The raw information remains there until overwritten. That's why companies should destroy their disks on decommission instead of just formatting them. Most 911 calls an ambulance receives on a daily basis are not remotely close to being emergencies. Touching your fresh tattoo with your unwashed fingers is bad. It's absurd how many times we have to tell this to people. Most people are not good at detecting lies, and consistently score no better than chance 50-50 when tested. The score goes up slightly when it's someone they know that they're talking to, but not much. Ironically, most people rate themselves as very good at detecting lies, but they're wrong. Virtually every piece of copper, aluminum, or steel you come across has been chopped to bits, refined, melted down and used to make whatever object it's a part of. Dozens, if not hundreds of times. Copper pipe? Probably started out as hundreds of different wires from various devices from around the world at one point. Neurodegenerative diseases, Alzheimer's, Parkinson, starts way before the first symptoms appears. No one wake up suddenly one day with Alzheimer's. From actual data, it seems that the disease is rampant for 10 to 15 years before the first symptoms. Some research say that you can start identifying abnormalities 20+ years before the memory loss begin. And it works for all neurodegenerative diseases. A fake. An electrical engineer isn't an electrician. Your new house you just built probably has much better insulation than your old house from the 70s. Since the house is much more energy efficient, the size of the furnace and/or air conditioner may be smaller than what you had at your old house even if the new house is larger. No, we can't use rules of thumb to size your HVAC equipment no matter what Google says. We have to use a load calculation and that has to be approved by the building department. Bonus, having an HVAC system that runs all the time but just barely gets you to the temperature you want is more energy efficient than a larger system that turns off and on all of the time. Even if it seems like the system is running constantly. In scoring for film, the orchestra ensemble actually plays the music live as the movie is played behind them. It is recorded and synced. You don't defibrillate asystole, flatline cardiac rhythm, like they do on TV. It's a non-shockable rhythm. A corporate policy of requiring users to change their P buttwords every 90 days does not make your system more secure. It tends to actually make things less secure. Being a stockbroker does not mean I know how you can turn $100 into $1 million by next month. Stop texting me. You would think all the heavily relied upon server infrastructures were super secure and highly redundant. Ha 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 ha. Coffee shops spend more on milk than coffee. That if your IT guy is not busy, he is doing a good job, not a bad one, and you don't need to fire them. There is no such thing as a perfectly functioning aircraft. Every plane you fly on has a multitude of maintenance issues, just not severe enough to affect safety of flight. Edit, effect versus effect. Edit, my apologies to everyone boarding a plane today. Rest butthurt, this is nothing to worry about, planes are still the safest way to travel. Smiley face. Organic foods aren't necessarily grown without chemicals. There's a ton of organic label pesticides out there, many of which are just as toxic as their synthetic counterparts. Edit for clarification. When I say grown without chemicals, I was referring to man-made products like fertilizers and insecticides, herbicides. No duh, all crops are produced with chemicals. Water, technically, is a chemical. Also, thanks for the platinum, gold. In jewelry, a diamond is a luxury expense, not an investment. Gold is the investment. If you try to sell your engagement ring, you'll get maybe 20% of what you initially paid for it. Jewelers can get diamonds for a fraction of what you paid for it. How many people actually drive a car before it gets to the dealer? Edit, wow, this really blew up. Thank you anonymous Redditor for the silver. Office copiers cost upwards of $7,000, some can go for $15,000 minus $20,000 depending on print speed and capacity. Do not hold your breath while ascending up through water. Unless of course that breath came from the surface to begin with. Then you're okay. As a UX designer in the US, we hate having to localize the text for use in Germany because German words can be ridiculously long compared to most other languages. Turning your computer or phone off and on again will fix a solid 70 to 80% of all problems the device likely has. Anyone can get an entry-level IT job if you know how to use Google and have an aptitude for learning new things. Only when you get to the buttest positions is it necessary to have a strong foundation of IT knowledge. And programming is something else entirely. Most herbal supplements can and will give you adverse side effects when mixed with other medications. Always tell your doctor everything you're taking. This is relatively well known, but it's not as big a deal as it should be. The severity of the handful of big data breaches we've seen in the past few years, Target, Equifax, etc. The essential in essential oils doesn't mean it is essential to your body or health. It basically means that it is the pure essence of that particular plant or flower. So many people have taken this to mean that they are literally essential to our health and well-being. It hurts my brain. The maximum spacing between spindles in a railing is 4 inches because that's the average size of a baby's head. Most building officials will carry a 4 inches sphere with them when doing inspections on new construction. A radiologic technologist, X-ray tech, is not a radiologist. Radiologists are doctors. When you write to your politician, he won't be reading your letter, he won't be writing the reply, that's all done by staffers. All he does is, sign here. I'm a sign language interpreter. This is based off the comments I get from the general hearing population. 1. We do not take care of or help the deaf person. We work for them same as we are working for you. 2. No, I'm not related to this deaf person. I'm not even friends with them. In designing 3D games, many programmers, even in big gaming companies, still have a heck of trouble with colliders, making it so the player doesn't fall through the floor, wall through walls, etc. Everything should work correctly, but no. The solution? God knows. We all just layer dozens of colliders on top of each other and hope for the best. Why do you think there are so many walking through corner glitches? Edit, there are probably some programmers and companies who have this down, but I'm not 100% certified to talk about this or anything in all honesty. I'm just an indie game designer and have discussed this with other people who have much more experience, some who work for companies like Microsoft and can confirm that this happens. Another edit, sorry for multiple edits, but thanks for Silver Award, smiley face. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe and smack that bell icon to stay up to date on our videos. See you next time.